morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? All good? Good. You may already know this, but my name is Guy. And looks like we have Hong and Sheng. And Krista and John in the back, along with Lance and Deanna. Is that correct? All right, cool. We got all the right people. That's a good start, huh? Did everybody have an opportunity to see the safety briefing? Yeah, the video? Do you have any questions? You guys each have your own, though. Yeah. And when you use the mic, just press the button, hold the button, and speak directly into the top part of the mic. That's where the holes are, yeah?
Hello.
Very good. Also, use a normal tone of voice, because if you yell into the mic, it's like yelling straight into our ears, right? Yeah, not a good thing. I do encourage you folks to use the mics when we're flying around. I will be talking incessantly, so feel free to interrupt me, you know? It's a lot more fun to have an interactive experience than just me telling you everything, right? When we're up there flying around, if you see my mouth moving and you don't hear anything, it's not a malfunction. I'm talking to other aircraft out there to stay separated. And if you talk to me and I don't respond, it's probably because I was talking to other aircraft. I'm not ignoring you. So just repeat your question or comment, okay? When we're departing and arriving the airport, I'm required by FAA to isolate your mics, so you won't be able to use them until we get in cruise flight. I'll be sure to let you know when we're there. Okay? Cool. We do have these, they call them comfort bags scattered around the helicopter, right? There's a couple up front here. There's a bunch in the pouch in the doorway down below, and also in the seat pack. So if you need them, you got them. It should be fairly smooth out there today. The wind's not that great, so shouldn't be a problem. Any questions about all that good stuff, right? Anybody first-timers in a helicopter? So almost all of us are first-timers, huh? Yeah. All right, so I'm going to isolate your mics, and again, relax, enjoy the flight, enjoy the music. I'll talk to you when we get in cruise. Alrighty, we got a clearance to go, so here we go.
How's that?
On the island, we do it island style. From the mountain to the ocean, from the windward to the leeward side. On the island, we do it island style. From the mountain to the ocean, from the windward to the leeward side. Mama's in the kitchen cooking dinner real nice. Beef stew on the stove, no mess salmon with the ice. We don't drink and we sing all day. Connie Kapila in the old Hawaiian way. On the island, we do it island style. From the mountain to the ocean, from our windward to the leeward side. On the air, we do it island style. From the mountain to the ocean, from our windward to the leeward side.
Alrighty, we're entering into the cruise phase of flight now, so I've activated your mics. Don't be shy. Feel free to speak up. This harbor down below on your right is Nawili Wili Harbor. It's the main harbor for the island, built back in the 1930s. It's a deep draft harbor, so it can accommodate the big cruise ships and such.
On the air, we do it island style. From the mountain to the ocean, from the windward to the leeward.
So this little river is the Hawaiian River, and the little pond you see, or the big pond you see on the far side of the Hawaiian River, is the Alekoko Fish Pond. This was built by the ancient Hawaiians, and in the old days it had a gate that allowed little fish to swim freely in and out. Hawaiians would feed the fish in the pond. They'd get big and unable to get back out through those little holes in the gate. That way they always had fresh fish to eat. They're pretty clever that way. And the area out in front of us is the Kipu Ranch. In the old days it used to be all sugarcane, but nowadays they run cattle and ATV tours through here. And some of the scenes from the original Jurassic Park were filmed on the fields down there. On the left side, we got Kipu Kai. Now, Kipu Kai is privately owned by the Waterhouse family. Must be rough, huh? And actually a lot of movie scenes have been filmed down in there. Movies like 6 Days, 7 Nights, The Descendants, Hook, Pirates of the Caribbean, and some of the later Jurassic Park films. And then this mountain on our left is kind of special. It's one of 3 structures on the island that are remnants of when the island was first built about 5 million years ago. It was built, but it was structurally weak and it collapsed, and then it was rebuilt again about 3 million years ago. So most of what you see out there is about 3 million years old. If you look way out on the right-hand side, the last mountain range out there, the right end of it, the 2 little peaks on the right-hand side are also old structures. They're like 5 million years old. So looking off to your left, that's the south shore of the island, and Poipu is the community along the coast.
Hey Guy, how long have you been flying helicopters?
I've been flying helicopters for about 8 years now. Been flying fixed wing for 41 years. But helicopters are more fun.
It seems like a fun job.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And where are Hong and Sheng from? Gotta use the mic.
I came from California, Central Valley.
She's from California.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And you?
Michigan.
Michigan. Oh boy, you guys come a long ways.
Yes.
And how about Krista and John? Where are you guys from?
We're from Denver, Colorado.
Oh, nice, nice. And Lance, Deanna?
Sacramento, California.
Yeah. I used to fly into Sacramento a lot. I was a captain with Aloha Airlines for 23 years. So, did everybody get the memo? The 2-week minimum on Kauai memo? No?
No.
This is our second week.
You are here for 2 weeks.
Yes.
On Kauai.
Yes.
See? The memo does work.
We have a condo in Poipu.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, the rest of you have to come back. You guys are going to be assigned remedial vacationing. Yeah. Partially because part of the island's not accessible right now. You can't get to the west side of the North Shore.
We did the boat.
Oh, yeah, but it's still nice to walk on the sand, you know? So you got to come back. Alright, so it's a little breezy today. There's a good chance we might encounter a few little bumps as we traverse the hills here. Don't be alarmed by the bumps. It's all normal stuff. Do we have any coffee drinkers on board today? You guys drink coffee? Alright, lots of coffee drinkers. Well, I hope I'm not disappointing you. I'm not serving on this flight, but I wanted to tell you about all that dark green stuff along the coast there. That's the Kauai Coffee Company. It's the largest coffee plantation in the United States. And if you go out to the structure there, they'll give you a free tour and free samples. Yeah, they make some good stuff. And then beyond it, Port Allen, secondary harbor for the island. A lot of the tour boats operate out of there. Everybody doing okay? Alright, great.
Thank you.
So I'm assuming you guys would like to go see some waterfalls. Probably a good assumption, huh? Yeah. Alright. So we're going to descend down into this valley. This is Hanapepe Valley. And you're going to see one particularly large waterfall. It's called Manawai o Puna. Means water power of Puna. However, most folks call it Jurassic Falls because it was featured in that movie, Jurassic Park. And there she is. And now we're going to cruise up to a group of 7 waterfalls, collectively called Kahili Falls, or the 7 Sisters. And I'll be putting it on the right side of the helicopter here. Notice all these trees up here that look like they're dead? Yeah, they're dead. All victims of Hurricane Iniki, September 11, 1991. Winds exceeding 200 miles an hour raked across the island. And those trees were so badly windburned they were never able to recover. looking off to your right, you see how the mountain climbs up into the clouds. That's Mount Waialeale. She's 5,200 feet high. And yeah, I know you can't see it, but it's there, trust me. It gets 450 inches of rain on average per year, which makes it, on average, the rainiest spot on the planet. And all this land that we're flying over belongs to the Robinson family. It's a big pie-shaped piece of property that starts at the top of the mountain there, runs down on the other side of the valley that we just flew through, all the way until we get to Waimea Canyon. Over 51,000 acres that they purchased back in the 1860s, most of which they keep in conservation. In order to pay the taxes on all this conservation land, they lease out those lowlands for agricultural purposes. And off to your left along the coast, Waimea town. Used to be the capital of the island until 1835 when they moved it to Lihue. That's also where Captain James Cook, the famous explorer, first landed when he arrived in Hawaii back in 1778. Now this canyon also belongs to the Robinsons. It runs all the way back up to the base of Mount Waialeale. And that's about a 3,000 foot drop from top to bottom back there. So looking at the cliffs, you'll note there's a lot of dark horizontal lines. Each one of those horizontal lines represents a lava flow. Many layers of lava piled up to build the island over millions of years. The red clay you see, also volcanic material. It's formed when the volcano, rather than flowing, it fountains thousands of feet into the air. And that molten rock, while suspended in midair, gets oxidized, turns into cinder, falls to the ground, piles up, compresses into the red clay that you see. Have any of you had an opportunity to drive up to Kauai State Park and up Waimea Canyon?
We did it yesterday.
Oh, it was a beautiful day yesterday. It was a good day for it.
Yes.
It's a nice road too, very smooth. If you guys plan on doing it, you'll be going to Waimea Town, hanging a right on either the Canyon Drive or Highway 550. They both connect and run up the ridge line, or actually the rim of the canyon on our west side, or up in front of us. And we just passed over the boundary between the Robinsons estate and everything in front of us, which is the Waimea Canyon and Kauai State Park, all part of the state of Hawaii lands. Everybody having a good time? You guys comfortable? Yeah? Excellent. So you guys want to learn a little more geology?
Why not?
Why not? Alrighty. If you look on the right-hand side of the canyon, you'll notice that on there's several side canyons. If you look at the side canyons, you'll note that the layers match on either side of the side canyons. They're identical because everything to the right was one big block of material, and the rivers cut the holes through it, creating the canyons, just like the Grand Canyon on the mainland. What's odd here is that the layers on the left side of the helicopter don't look the same as the layers on the right side. It's because the left side is not the same structure as the right side. The left side is 5 million years old, part of the original construction of the island. After it collapsed, it was rebuilt. Everything on the right side is part of the reconstruction that occurred 3 million years ago. And just up ahead, coming up on your right side, is Waipo'o Falls.
All my memories hold heaven on high. Brown skin woman, clear blue island sky. Daytime sunshine, oh so bright. Midnight moon a glowing, stars up in the sky. Country road, take me home to the place I belong. Mount Kala, take me home, country road. I hear a voice in the morning, constantly calling, as though to remind me of my home far away. We driving down the road, I feel spirits coming to me of yesterday.
So if you look out in front of us, you see how the top of the island is kind of flat. That's because when the island was being rebuilt, the lava was pooling. It was filling in a hole. And so it created this relatively flat top, which used to extend all the way across and butt up against the other side. 3 million years of erosion created the canyons as we see them today. That flat top that remains is known as the Alakai Swamp. It's the highest elevation swamp in the world, and it's home to all kinds of native plants and birds that are found nowhere else on the planet. About to cross over that canyon drive. It's a real nice road. It's bank turns, really smooth, and it gives you access to this entire area up here. This is all Kauai State Park. Down below on the left. Oh, go ahead.
What's that pond?
The pond? That's it's a reservoir put in back in the 1860s. It's the Pu'ulua Reservoir, and that's where they grow trout, and they seed all the streams up here for the fishermen. Down below on your left is Barking Sands Naval Air Station and the Pacific Missile Range facilities. That's where they developed the anti-ballistic missile defense systems that are being deployed all over the world. And offshore, that island is Ni'ihau. That belongs to the Robinsons as well as all this land on Kauai. That island is called the Forbidden Island because they only allow native Hawaiians to go there.
What a place.
The sun shines bright as it moves across my face.
So this whole state park up here, lots of hiking trails and campgrounds. The round things off on our left, those are the golf balls for the Jolly Green Giant. I'm just checking to see if you guys are awake. Radar facilities, Air Force, Navy, and NASA. And we're just about to descend onto the beautiful Napali coast.
It's a beautiful day.
Napali. Anybody know what Napali means?
No.
It means the cliffs.
The cliff.
Go figure. You're going to see some cliffs. The cliffs. And this end of the Napali coast is the back side of that 5 million year old structure. So not only are these cliffs are eroded away by 5 million years of wind and rain, making some very, very deep ravines and sharp ridges and spires.
And it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful
So the big archway off on your right between those two beaches is the Honopu Arch. It's where they filmed Pirates of the Caribbean. And straight down below on your right, you see a sea cave where the top is collapsed on it, creating a skylight. I guess you can tell why it's called the Cliffs, huh?
It's amazing land. Is it hard to fly in this, between the valley, the cliffs? For you feel it's more challenging, right?
Well, the helicopter's really, really maneuverable, so I wouldn't want to do this with an airplane. It's pretty easy to fly around with a helicopter. I mean, it's not easy to fly the helicopter, but once you get it down, it's very, very maneuverable.
Actually, so a few days ago, we took a charter to here for open sea snorkeling. Where is the location? Probably.
Probably behind over this side.
Okay, thank you.
So the big beach down below on your right is Kalalau Beach. That's the end of the 11-mile hike that starts at the point way out in front of us. It takes anywhere from 8 to 12 hours to hike one way out to this beach.
So if you want to hike here, so you need a permission, or anybody can come at permission, right?
Need a permit, yeah. And right now there's no access to it because the road is closed, yeah? I'll explain when we get down that way. The cliffs above Kalalau are called the cathedrals. They say the ridges and spires resemble the flying buttresses of the cathedrals of Europe. And there's that Honopu Arch again down below. And this is Kalalau Valley. It's the largest valley on the Nepali coast. In 1800, they estimated the Hawaiian population to be around 5,000 in this valley. By 1890, there were only 200 Hawaiians living in the valley, and by 1920, they'd moved out.
So the light colored, kind of like a bushes or tree. What's that? What's the
The
name?
real light colored ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are kukui nut trees. The nut is, well, the plants were brought by the old Hawaiians when they first arrived here. And the nut is very oily. So the natives would use the oil for cooking, medicinal purposes, as well as for torches and lamps, fuel for torches and lamps. If you go to ABC store, they sell kukui nut leis. The nuts, you see the leis with the nuts about this big around. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, this is Hanakoa Valley. It's the halfway point on the trail to Kalalau. And here you have Hanakoa Falls. That waterfall is about 1,200 feet high.
1,200 feet.
Yep. I've been making a lot of turns and stuff. Everybody doing good? You guys still comfy? You having a good ride? Excellent. All right. Now it's going to be a little bumpy as we traverse this segment of the coastline. So don't be alarmed.
Not as bumpy as our boat ride when we came out.
Oh, I'll bet. Yeah, right now this surf is pretty large. It's supposed to be 20 feet, 20 to 25 feet. We do get surf on a regular basis as large as 60 feet.
Look at you now, 'cause you're swimming. Baby, you better believe I know.
Yeah, the day we went in the morning and they canceled the afternoon run.
Yeah, it can get pretty rough. So this little beach down below on your right, that's Hanakapi'ai. Now, you need a permit to hike to Kalalau, but you can hike to Hanakapi'ai without a permit. It's about the first 2 miles of the Kalalau Trail. It takes an hour to get there, and then you can go up the valley an additional 1.8 miles to the falls back there. I'm just going to turn us around so that you can get a good look back down the Napali coast. Yeah, unfortunately, you probably heard about our big rainstorm in April. Yeah, so the road to come out to this end of the North Shore is blocked off, so we don't get an opportunity to go hiking this trail.
From the time this began, well, I know just who I am, and I'm not going nowhere. I'm gonna be right here. Look at the swing, we were winning. Look at you now, 'cause you're swimming. Baby, you better believe I know the deal. It's real, yeah. Isn't it nice? If our love could last right here forever.
So the beach down below on our right side is Ke'e Beach. It's spelled K-E-E, but pronounced Ke'e. And that's where the road ends and the trail begins.
Guy, when is the road projected to be open again?
Well, I'm hearing all kinds of varying stories. It doesn't seem like they're in a huge rush, but I believe it's probably going to be around the beginning of the year. So this next bay ahead on your right is Maniniholo Bay and Ha'ena Beach Park. And then just to the left of that bay is Tunnels Reef. It's a popular surf spot, also good for snorkeling and diving. The community along the coast there is called Ha'ena. And Ha'ena is a very popular spot for celebrity types and millionaires, etc. Property values along the coastline starting at about 10 million up to about 40 million. Even the little shacks at the back are all multi-million-dollar properties. Yep, that's where all the helicopter pilots live. Not.
Lucky.
Only in our dreams.
You never know. Maybe buy some lottery.
Yeah, never know. So out in front of us, that's Princeville with the St. Regis Resort. And way in the distance, Kilauea Point, where the lighthouse is, a big bird sanctuary. Lots of nesting seabirds. Then the large bay is Hanalei. Yeah.
It's this bay.
That's the bay, Hanalei, yep. And then this little beach along here, this long, narrow beach, is Lumahai Beach. And this is where the road is closed. Everything to the right is not accessible to us right now.
At night we name every star. We know where we are. We know who we are.
The crops growing back here are taro. It's a staple for the Pacific Islanders, kind of like how rice or potatoes are staples for other folks. Traditionally, they prepare it by boiling the root and then pounding it into a gray paste called poi. Have any of you had an opportunity to try poi?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, what did you think?
Actually, we attended the Lua, so they have like a buffet style. So.
And did you try it?
Yes, I did. That time I don't know what's that. I just tried.
And did you like it?
Yes.
Yeah. It gets mixed reviews. Anybody back there try poi? You tried it and you're like, maybe not. Yeah, it's interesting. I think from what I've learned from different people around the world, different people are used to different staples. Like people in the southeast, they like grits. People from the north don't like grits. I know myself, I was raised on rice and poi. When I went in the military, they fed me mashed potatoes. Not so good. Yeah. Took a while to figure out you got to mix something in it because the texture is weird and the taste is blah. I like it now, but I'd still rather eat poi. Now, if you go to a luau or something, they serve you some poi. Taste it. If you don't like it, ask them for some milk and sugar, and you put the milk and sugar in it and make it taste good. Yeah, beautiful Hanalei.
Canyons of Waimea, standing all alone. The magic of the garden now is calling me back home. When I was young, not too smart, I left my home looking for a brand new start. Find a place.
Now, as we enter into this Waiole Valley, note all the scarring on the cliffs. The exposed red dirt, and down in the ravines, all the boulders that are no longer covered with vegetation. This all occurred during the big rains in April. And it's not uncommon. It happens all the time on the island. And it's not a bad thing. It's how the island evolves and erodes. This structure's 3 million years old. In another 2 million years, it'll look more like what we were looking at on the west side of the Nepali coast, where those deep, deep ravines were.
4 years ago when we were out here, there was a lot more water flow, and this was beautiful from Princeville.
Yeah, it all depends on the day and the time of day and just the particular weather. Most of these waterfalls don't have a holding basin. So if it stops raining, within a matter of 12 hours, they stop running. 2 days ago, all those waterfalls, those dark, mossy, vertical lines were gushing with water.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. The day we were here, they were all flowing very well.
So like this waterfalls down below on your left, that's Keikoa Falls. And of course it's got this huge flat top to catch and hold the water, so it never dries up. Looking on the right side, 2 days ago, all those big tall waterfalls were gushing with water. But when it doesn't keep raining, the waterfalls stop running. Now we're about to see something that's kind of strange. Just coming up on your right side at eye level, notice the waterfalls are running, but they're not running from above. Looks kind of strange, don't you think? Kind of like a magic trick or something. The mountains are full of springs. Those lower waterfalls are spring-fed. And actually just coming into view, I'll put it on the right side here, the Weeping Wall is this cliff with the springs pouring out of the base of it. The volcanic material that the island's made out of is very porous. It's just like a sponge. As a matter of fact, if you were to visualize the islands and the mountains as if they were a gigantic sponge full of water, that's fairly accurate. The mountains are full of water from top all the way to bottom. And there's numerous locations, thousands of locations where the water just comes squirting out at the base of the cliffs. Yeah, the number of waterfalls changes by the minute. It just depends on where the heavy showers are happening, and some days where it's kind of cloudy and rainy, it makes for some of the best tours because you have a lot of rainbows and a lot more waterfalls. But at the same token or same time, sometimes you can't get to everywhere because of the poor visibilities.
Them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself.
So this back here is the headwaters of Honolulu Valley.
Well, I see skies of blue, and I see clouds of white, and the brightness of day. I like the dark.
Now here at this headwaters of Honolulu, you can see the springs oozing out of the face of the cliff.
The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, singing, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
So now we're back on the east side of the island. Off to your left is Kapa'a. Ahead of us, Lihue. This whole area is called the Lihue Basin. Remember the flat top we were looking at from the canyon? It used to extend out in this direction too. 3 million years of erosion caused this entire basin to collapse. And when it collapsed, it exposed the east side of Waialeale Crater. And we're going to go in and take a look. So when it's been raining, all these big tall waterfalls come gushing with water, but hasn't been raining for a couple days. Of course, when it's raining, a lot of times you can't see the entire 3,000 feet from top to bottom. And the water that is flowing, again, spring water, you can see it coming right out of the side of the mountain.
What are the flat top trees to the left here?
Yeah, those are albizia trees. They were imported from Southeast Asia about 150 years ago. And they were brought in as an ornamental. They're really pretty trees, but they have turned into an invasive species. They grow very, very rapidly and spread rapidly. Because they grow so rapidly, the wood is not very good. It's very brittle, and it causes damage to houses and cars and stuff when it breaks off. But movie industry likes it. As a matter of fact, this particular area is where a lot of movies are filmed with jungle scenes, like Jurassic Park, Jurassic World. Flight of the Intruder was filmed here, as well as Tropical Thunder, and several other movies. And this whole area in front of us used to be covered with sugarcane. When they quit growing the sugar, it completely filled in with albizia trees. And now they've been harvesting the albizias, using it as a source of fuel for our bioelectric plant, and then replanting with a different type of tree. It's a eucalyptus tree. So you can see all the baby trees down below on our right-hand side there.
I only saw the white birds, the flying between the cliffs. So
Yeah.
what's that kind of bird?
Yeah, that is called a koa ekea. It's a white-tailed tropic bird with a long tail, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're approaching Lihui's airspace, so I need to isolate your mics, so you won't be able to talk. But once we land, I'll reactivate your mics and you'll be able to ask questions. This bump on the right side, this big wide hump, is Kilohana volcano. It was the last major volcano to erupt on the island. It occurred about 150,000 years ago. So this dark paneled area off on your right is a very special solar power plant put in by Tesla. It is experimental. It was built about 2 years ago. It has a lot of battery backup, and it provides power to about 20% of the community at night. Alright, so we're getting ready to land, and so I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for flying with me. Been nice having you aboard. And on behalf of the entire crew at Blue Hawaiian, we do appreciate you choosing Blue. We know you have a choice, and I hope that we've met your expectations and or exceeded them.
Fragments on the sea.
Alrighty, now we just got our landing clearance, and once we land, please stay in the helicopter with the doors closed until the agents open the door for you and let you out. And then when you do climb out, move towards the front of the helicopter where it's safe. They'll then set you up with an opportunity for some photos. And when you head inside, if you look off to your left as you enter the doorway, you'll see a bank of computers there. Those are there for you to be able to make comments, or e-comments if you would. And, or if you prefer, there's some envelopes you can write on longhand. We do appreciate the comments. It helps us to evaluate how we're doing. And once again, my name is Guy, and thanks for flying with me.
When it's too late. What we used to be, what we will become, worlds we cannot see, breaking apart one by one. Slowly we fell under a spell, one by one. Slowly we wake up, fragments of a scene from a distant stage undone. Little time machine, messages of love and hate. Why can't we relate with ourselves, with what we open?
Well, welcome back to Earth, everybody. You have mics again, so you can use them if you like.
Thank you very much. Nice trip.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.